computer. And we are recording for all of our viewers on Facebook and, well, we're working on trying to get on YouTube. Things are a little bit more complicated than we were expecting. We will not be having a housekeeping segment today because we both have to work really early in the morning. So, because we want to be fresh as daisies and Fish wants to be a fresh fish, we are
I probably
just
smell
going
like
to
a
go.
fresh fish too. I haven't showered since this is Friday night.
Oh,
I ran Thursday night. I took a shower before bed. I went to work.
hmm
Yeah, I'm probably not going to shower until Saturday afternoon
You're
sometime.
smelling a little fishy then.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers of Old Spice on right now.
All right. So on that happy note, we're not going to be having housekeeping after the episode, but we will be having our little chats in between segments.
Ooh.
So
If room
yes.
13 was a scratch and sniff.
Ideas nobody ever thinks about.
Scratchy.
No. Some people would want to be scratched, and I guess I smell nice, but well,
You smell nice.
scratch and sniff fish. Not a Shark Tank idea. You'll smell like a Shark Tank, but whatever. All right, kids, here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Rocky, did you see the letter from the hotel management we got today?
Oh man, what happened now? What's up?
All right, I'll read it. Dear Rocky and the Fish, as you know, a majority of the turkeys you introduced to the area during the Turkey Drop Spectacular this past Thanksgiving has been relocated. However, a few have taken up residence in and around the hotel. They are causing issues for our guests and staff, and we are holding you responsible.
Of course, we're responsible for it. Oh, okay. Let's see. Give me that. All right. The turkeys in question are Rusty. He has taken up residence in the bar area and is slurping patrons' drinks. You can't miss him. He's a turkey in the hat. Of course. I didn't even realize that turkeys could wear top hats, but I guess Rusty the turkey is a top hat wearer. Brad has taken residence. Yeah, it is really dapper. Brad has taken residence in the spa and massage area and is harassing the staff. Huh. That sounds about right. Melissa has taken residence in the store and has racked up a huge tab. She's charging all of her purchases to Ron's room. As well she should. As well she should.
Do it. That's
how we do it, exactly. Sean is now residing at the gun range. We will soon be running out of ammunition. Thankfully, all the targets are intact because he can't hit the broadside of a barn. I think it's because turkeys don't have opposable thumbs. So that would probably explain why that's happening. Oh, let me see. But that brings us to the biggest problem, the turkey known as Chris. Chris, he's the best turkey out of all of them. Let's see what they say. He has taken residence in the lounge area on the karaoke stage. I find that highly unlikely. He has been gobbling into the mic for hours on every day. It would almost be entertaining if he'd pick a different song other than Baby Turkey. Baby Turkey, do 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 do. It's an earworm. You have 3 weeks to capture and relocate the above-named turkeys, especially Chris. Do 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 do. Signed hotel management. Well, I guess we're gonna have to come up with a plan, Fish. We're gonna have to rescue all of these turkeys from the hotel. In the meantime, though, I really wish that Chris the turkey would sing along with this one. Cause y'all know what day it is.
Ready, people?
It's Saturday, and away we go.
And relax.
We're coming for ya, all you turkeys, especially Chris.
Got a truckload. What's he got?
I will have nets and cages. I guess we're going to have turkeys in cages. I guess that's the new way to bring turkeys back home. Anyway, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to Room 13. We are broadcasting, as we always do, from the Desert Air Motel, Casino, Convention Center, RV Park, Little Chapel Souvenir Shop, Mini Mart, Spa, Firing Range, and more to come. The official home of the Dirty Turtle Cafe and Lounge. You can find us on Spreaker, iHeart Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and many, 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 many other podcast providers. You can find us on Facebook, on TikTok, mojo50.com, and Odyssey. A greeting to all of our friends over at Odyssey. We received some really good news. Live long and prosper, all of y'all out there. We hope you are enjoying us as much as we enjoy you. You know what that means. You can find us on the socials, Room 13 Show on Twitter. And if you wish to contact us directly, you can do so at Rocky with an I, that would be me, and at The River Fish, that would be Mr. Fish over there, who's smelling a little fishy today because he's been out in the field. He's been out in the field.
It's been a long week of work. It's not getting any. This enters my busy season. From here until November, I'm working 6 days a week, probably 7 from whenever till whenever. And sometimes you got to forego a shower because you need that 15 minutes more of sleep.
Is that what they have Axe body spray for?
Yes, I smell like a teenage boy. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
That sounds about right. Well, we smell like fish and musk.
Hey, we made a mistake last week.
We did.
We challenged our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
They are jackholes. That's why they're our listeners. Most of them are our friends. And we told them to send pics. We should have been more specific.
Yeah.
As being the guardian of our social media pages, I have seen more pics than I really wanted to of different listeners. And I really wish I was more specific when I challenged them to send more pics. So, yeah, specifically, people, I only want to see chin to head. That's it. Nothing below the chin, because holy cow, y'all. Well, there's an Irish curse with some of you people, but man, please don't do that anymore. Just don't.
I relegate the responsibility of social media monitoring to Fish because he's got more time in his hands than I currently do. And yeah, he's having a hard time finding eye bleach for some of the photos. So though we greatly appreciate that you feel so comfortable with us to share some of those images, please keep those for your very special ladies and gentlemen, because we're not here to judge.
Yeah, don't go all Anthony Weiner on me. I mean, I appreciate the pictures we have. You still have Chris behind you, and you have Pumpkin Butt behind you. I have, if you look over my shoulder, I have Jamie and Brad Staggs, and I have a life-size picture of one stealthy jackhole.
To scale. That's how tall she is. Yeah.
To scale.
It's almost like we trapped her in that picture frame, and she's like in there. You know.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Kind of like a Pokemon. We kind of like trapped her there. In that confined space.
For the record, it was Rocky with an I who said Stealthy Jackhole is a Pokemon. So please send all of your derogatory gifts and everything else to her this week and leave me alone.
Yes. Indeed. Ah, goodness gracious. It has been a week. It has been a week.
No one lick any money for you this week?
No, actually, no one licked any money, but I do have a tip to share with some of our listeners.
Where did Rocky get Fish's new tail, you ask? A retail store. And now, time for Retails with Rocky.
People, don't lick your bills, but do check your money. And I say it because I don't know if you all remember last year, we had an issue with coin money. There was a coin shortage. Well, now, because so many people are spending money, there's a lot of new bills in circulation. And what happens when you get handed a new bill, Fish?
I don't know. I didn't get my allowance this week. What happens when I get a new bill?
Usually, when you get a new bill, it's so crispy and it hasn't been touched by human hands, and your bills will stick together. So I strongly recommend, especially all of you out there who are receiving your money from the
What kind of money?
government, stimulus money or tax refunds or whatever, money from whatever your source of income may be. Make sure that you check your bills. I had a customer last week who paid for his purchase with a $100 bill. It's a brand new $100 bill. And of course, I always check the bill, especially since it was so crispy. Gave it a good shake, only to realize there was another $100 bill in there.
Oh.
So it's actually two $100 bills that he handed to me, and I give it back to him. Here you go, sir. He's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, yeah, you might want to check your bills. Kind of separate them a little bit because whether if it's I was gonna say if it's a dollar, it's a dollar or it's a dollar, and I always check bills, especially when they're new bills. But if you're giving me something like a 20 or a 50 or a $100 bill, please make sure you kind of like jiggle it, crinkle it, crumble it, and make sure that you're giving me a single bill and not two.
You stopped me at Jiggle It. That's how I usually get my
Gotta
dollar bills.
jiggle it. Yes, well, that's another
Yeah.
kind of jiggling. Not that, no. No. If you're jiggling it, then they may put coin in you so that you jiggle and jangle.
That's how I get my dollar bills. Yeah, I jiggle it and I get dollar bills. Dollar bills, y'all.
Dollar bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all. So
I have no idea what that's from.
I don't know either. I am seriously contemplating retiring from my life in retail.
Oh, what are we gonna call your segment
Um,
then?
We'll come up with something, I'm sure. I still shop in retail. I'll still be ever observant in the new customer trends. There are a lot of changes happening in retail. So, for all of you who go shopping at specific stores, let's start with W and in Walmart. You're going to start seeing a shortage. If you thought your local Walmart store, does not have enough cashiers, you're going to have less cashiers in the coming year, 2 years, 3 years, because a lot of these stations are now being turned into self-checkout stations. So now you will be checking your groceries out. So prepare yourself for it, America. It's coming very, very quickly. And I would like to get out while I still can. Plus, I want to spend time with my family. It's been doing this for 3 years now, and I would like to be able to spend a weekend with my family without, worrying about losing the second job or making excuses so that I could stay home with my family.
Yeah, because there's no. What is a family worth if you're not going to spend some time with it? No
Exactly.
use of having a family if you're not going to spend some time with it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not as fun.
To the point that on Memorial Day weekend, my family and I are going to be going away. We're going to go to Cocoa Beach on the other side of the peninsula. It's about like a 2 hour, 20-minute drive. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to it. And it was like a spur of the moment kind of thing. Like we literally planned for it, like idea. Let's just go do something fun on Memorial Day weekend because we're off. We're both off on Monday. I think last day of school in the state of Florida is the 28th of May. So I told my husband I am willing to take an unpaid weekend because I don't really accrue that much PTO in retail because I don't work that many long hours. It's like I am willing to take an unpaid weekend if it means that I get to spend the weekend with my family. Spend it at the beach,
Oh,
just be beach bums, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. That is
I've gone to
exactly what we're
Florida
gonna do.
beaches.
Mm-hmm.
I got injured at a Florida beach.
Of course you did.
I got whiplash. There is not much material to those young ladies' bikinis. It's really hard.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Or
As someone
or it's
as
getting
someone
better.
who works, or whichever way you see it, as someone who works in retail and sees the kind of swimsuits that we sell in stores and the kind of stuff that you can get online, because not a lot of these swimsuits are actually sold at your local, store. You don't go to Target or Nordstrom's or whatever and buy these kinds of swimsuits. You buy some of these things online. And leave something to the imagination, ladies.
There's not much to them. I mean, it's not much more than a couple eye patches and some string. Ladies, if you're attractive enough to wear such bikinis and you're unsure if you should be wearing them out in public, please send me those pics. I will give you a determination.
He will gladly give you a free evaluation.
I will assemble the team here at Mojo, which includes Chris, Sean, Rusty, Brad, Ron, and who else would probably partake in that kind of judging? It wouldn't be Oni. Oni's a goody-goody. He's a goody-goody. Oh yeah, I know you're listening.
We know the degenerate. I mean, ideal candidates for
Izzo. Izzo is the grand judge. He would participate gladly in such a contest.
Is he like the grand
Purely
marshal?
as a public service, we would do such a thing.
Of course. Continuing with his life of service to the community, I am sure that he would be more than happy to serve in that panel. Indeed. So,
that segment you just can't get enough of. Tales from a Fish starts now.
Your turn,
I
sir.
had something happen to me that's never happened before. It was awesome. And I didn't tell you this week. We didn't really talk a lot this week, did we?
It was a very hectic week at work, but I can only leave it at that. Let's just say that it's been month end and there are a lot of things that I have to do in preparation for that and in order to get all of our finances squared away. So I've really been focused on work, and I come home exhausted. So
I was on surveillance earlier in the week. Don't drink when I tell this story. It's going to go bad.
I can't help it.
So I was on surveillance.
Yes.
I have two vehicles I drive when it comes to surveillance. They're both blacked out. I mean, they're not totally blacked out, but I'm pretty secure that no one's aware that I'm in said vehicle. And I had to pull into a laundromat because it gave me the best vantage point to watch my target for that day. Middle of the day, no big deal. And I'm sitting there alone in the parking lot and I'm observing and I'm watching and I feel a movement to my right-hand side as another car pulled alongside. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm in a public parking lot. It's for a business. And I'm like, whatever. They don't have any tint on their windows. And they pulled next to me. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. No big deal. And I watched the couple, a younger couple, a very good-looking couple, get out. And they took their laundry into the laundromat. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. No problem. No one's going to bug me. So I kept on doing what I was doing. And about 10 minutes later, the couple came back out to their car. And apparently, while they were going to let their laundry go for a tumble, they were going to go for a tumble because I look over and I'm seeing butt against the window. Not against my window, but against their window. And I'm like, oh, look at that. And I'm like, now here's the professional problem. Do I pay attention to what's I'm paid to pay attention to, which is in front of me, or do I turn to the side and appreciate the athletic spectacle that went on for 2 hours solid because I timed them? That car was a rockin'. And they didn't seem to pay any mind that I may or may not be there or that there was a car there at all or that there was tint covering the windows. I looked over and you have a question. Yes. The Rocky with an I.
Yes. Rocky with an I, room 13, Mojo 50. Did they not stop at all? Not even realizing that there was laundry in the laundromat they needed to take care of?
No, they kept on going. It was a marathon of a session.
Okay.
I think at a certain point, they may have thought about the laundry and then got distracted by, well,
more tumbling in the car.
And yes, gentlemen, she was hot. I failed to answer that question. Yes, Rocky with an I, Mojo 50, room 13.
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you for taking another question of mine. Was he hot?
Hmm. He was well, for the ladies that are curious, he was hung like a nay. He was pretty well endowed. If that's important to you, I've been told that's not
if that's what
important.
matters, yes, if that's what matters to women out there, you know.
I've been doing this for more than 20 years, and I've never actually had a free show for work.
Were you paying that close attention that you were able to tell how well measured this gentleman was?
I was that close to his vehicle because I have an SUV and I could look down from where I was sitting. And well, after a while, I wanted to get pointers because, I like stealing ideas. Any other questions?
So you were parked, I'm trying to gauge how close to your vehicle they were. Was your vehicle running?
On and off once in a while, but it's a new vehicle, newer. I have two very new vehicles. So I don't think you hear the engine very much.
Okay. And they were in the stall literally right next to you, like you could open the door wide enough and hit their vehicle.
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, for anybody wondering, her name is Jen, and his name was Mark. So just, at least that's how they pronounced it. I'm not sure if that's really their names. I mean,
that's what it sounded like.
That's what it sounded like from my side. So
were your windows rolled down a little bit, sir?
They might have been.
I'm so glad you're honest about this.
I'm peering over hey, look at that. Oh, my guy's out there doing lawn. I'll just let it record. No problem. I have a tripod. I can let it just go. No big deal. And I'm just like, well, the camera's doing its thing. I'm going to do my, that was the other problem too. I'm like, do I record this?
I was going to say, you should have more than one recording device.
I had my phone. I mean, I have loose morals as it is, and very little ethics, and not very high
for the line of work. For the line of work that you do, I think that you're, well, I don't know about ethics and morals necessarily, but it is part of your job description to capture things on video because they are going to be used against someone at some point.
Now, this isn't the first time I've had nudity happen at work. But it is the first time I've had a show happen at work. Have I not told you that story?
I know of this one that you're just telling now.
Which story are you thinking of?
Didn't you have a story once about you were at a job and you had to go to a gentleman's club?
Oh, this is a different story.
Oh, heck.
You'll love this story. So once upon a time
we have about 3 minutes. So if you can fit this story in three minutes.
I cannot. There is absolutely no way I can fit this story in 3 minutes. It's so good.
Well, you had another anecdote this week. Do you think you'll be able to fit that one in 3 minutes?
Wow, now you sound like my wife.
No, I'm just No, I am not Mrs.
Let's do this.
No, yeah.
This Sunday, people, if you're looking for something fun and to listen to, and if you're not listening to Off Track already, I don't know why you're not listening to it already. This Sunday, 8 o'clock, mojo50.com, iHeartRadio, or on their Facebook app. Two beautiful worlds are about to collide. Room 13 and Off Track. Because we're going to have a little judging. I definitely need everybody there because we're going to judge my beard versus that of Mr. Whiskey 6, Sean. And we'll have some general shenanigans and some goofball things. We're going to get derailed. Let's face it.
It'll be derailed shenanigans.
Derailed shenanigans all over the place. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So
yes.
Tune in 8 o'clock this Sunday night. And come for the ha-ha, come for the shenanigans, and get derailed with us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Just that is our friendly reminder to you, our listener base, that the beard growing competition going on between Fish and Mr. Sean Whiskey 6 ends this April 11th, meaning this Sunday. The judging will be during Off Track, I believe. Are we supposed to be on for the whole show, or
I
I
think
guess
we're
we'll
only
work
on
out
for
the
half of it, but
details. Yeah, we'll have to work the details because I have some prior engagements and I can only stick around for a little bit, but I think that you get extra detention.
because Mr. Dave Morris, no, yeah, our favorite coffee brewer will be on the second half of the show.
Our coffee guy. I got a coffee guy. That's what I tell people.
You got a
You know, it's
guy,
like I got a,
DM.
I got a guy. I got a guy. That's the coffee. The coffee. Got a
I
guy.
got a guy. I can hook you up. It's no problem. It's a friend of the family.
Got a guy. You got
I got to tell you that story too.
Oh, geez,
You know that
Louise.
chin scratching thing you're doing?
Yes.
I went to
Mm-hmm.
Joseph's Table dinner when I was in high school, and I hadn't shaved in a while. It
Mm-hmm.
was really scratchy. All
We're gonna have
Italians,
to
there's
we're gonna have to wrap it up. Do you want to continue the story on the other end? Because we're
20 of them. And I started going like this to itch my chin
Uh-huh.
right in front of
Oh
his
boy.
mother. I didn't know what this meant. And I kept going like this. I took my hand underneath my chin and I'd flick it out and I'd flick it out and I'd flick it out. And yeah, I almost got killed.
Make sure you understand ASL and things like that, people, because you never know. Room 13 will be back in 2 minutes. It's like scratch inward.
Yeah, I kept going like this. And I'm like, and my buddy was just like, Eric, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I haven't itched in so long. And I'm like, his mother is like looking at just big eyes and like shock. And I'm like, why is everybody stopping looking at me right now? This isn't good. I don't know what I did, but this is not good.
Yeah, no, it's like when I learned as a young Rocky what that meant, I was like, okay, so if I ever scratch, I do it, like side or, you know, towards my neck, not
Never
away
up
from
underneath,
it.
never underneath.
Never away from it.
So do you want to hear the other how do I put this? Inappropriate story? Or do you want to hear the why does she look surprised story?
Let's do we could probably do both.
Do one because I'm gonna run out of stories soon. I gotta conserve.
Okay, yes. Yes, we can do that. We can do one. Then do that one and we can leave the surprised for next time.
That's what I keep worrying about. I'm like, sooner or later I'm gonna run out of well, probably not, but with the way my life goes.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I'm trying to remember if I put my link for the Autism Speaks virtual walk on the Room 13 Facebook page.
I don't know
I
if you
wanna
put it on the
say-
Facebook page.
I want to say if I did. I want to say I did, but I'll have to look at it.
I've tweeted the hell out of that thing.
Yeah, me too. I'm a little stuck. I haven't gotten any more donations lately, so I'm gonna have to spread it around the other social medias.
I'm
5
still doing
seconds
work.
coming in hot.
Is there any other way?
Welcome back to Room 13. And as we all know, our good friend Fish here was in the middle of a story of his investigative hijinks.
So wasn't much of an investigative, but it did involve the company I was working for at the time. I lived in South Buffalo at one point in time, and my wife and I, we had neighbors, and they were younger than us, and they were very attractive people. And we became friends. My wife wasn't fond of the woman. She thought she was flirting with me. I have no clue if someone's flirting with me, so I really don't give a crap if someone is because I don't care. I love my wife. I married her because she's hot, and she's hot. Look at me.
I can
really
I can attest to Mrs. Fish. She is hot.
She's hot. So I appreciate with what I got. I'm not going to step out on her. So I don't know. Point being in the story is the young female neighbor. She was like 4 or 5 years younger than us at the time, came over one day and we were talking, and a certain, mind you, this is before DVRs. This is during the age of VCRs. She came over and one of her favorite shows was going to be on that evening. And I'm like, well, tell you what, give me a blank tape and I will tape it for you. Cause I had multiple VCRs going on. I work from home. And at that time I needed multiple VCRs to do what I needed to do. So don't jump ahead of me. You're already smirking. I think you know where this is going. She's like, okay, no problem. So she came over and she gave me a tape. And I'm like, is it blank? She's like, yes. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yes. I'm like, because I don't want to tape over anything. I'm like, so she's like, no, don't worry about it. Go ahead. Record it. She's like, I'm going out with, I was almost said his name. We'll call him Jeremy because his name is Jeremy. I'm gonna go out with Jeremy tonight, so just tape it. She's like, I'll pick it up in the morning. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm curious by nature. It's probably why I do what I do for a living. That I'm just so freaking, what's the word?
Nosy?
Yeah, you know what? My wife calls me that. She wrote that in her diary too. Called me nosy. So I went to go look what's on the tape. Opening credits start, and it's the Disney logo comes up there, blue screen, there's the castle, and the rainbow of stars goes across. Da, 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 da. I can't even do the tune. I can hear it in my head, but that's where it starts.
I can hear it in my head too.
And the opening 3 bars of 101 Dalmatians comes on. I'm like, oh, it's that. And then it flashes to a bedroom. Not Disney and not Dalmatians. And I recognized the room because I had been in it, because I had helped my neighbors move into that room. It was my neighbor's bedroom. And I'm like, oh dear gosh, what's happening? It is a 2.5-hour marathon of my 2 young neighbors going at it like zoo animals in springtime. Yes, question. The story keeps going on, but I'll give you a question now. Go ahead. Rocky with an I, Mojo 50,
So,
13.
yes, thank you. Thank you kindly for taking my question yet again. So at no point you stopped when you realized what it was that you were looking at. That's
Wanted
how
to make
you
sure
knew
what
that
it
it
was.
was, that's how you knew it was 2.5 hours of a
Well,
marathon session.
I didn't find out it was 2.5 hours at that point or that evening. I
You just
fast forward a
stopped,
little
you
bit.
just stopped at 2.5 hours.
I fast forward a little bit. I'm like, yeah, this keeps going on. I fast forward a little bit. Oh, look at that. Keeps going on. Fast forward a little bit. I'm like, wow, she's flexible. I fast forward a little bit. Huh. I didn't know you could do that. And at that point, I started calling coworkers because frankly, people like me, we're all friends. We have the same interests. And I called my coworkers up and we called a meeting in the video room of our office. There was about 20 of us gathered there, big computer consoles, big screen TV, when we entertained different corporate guests to come in to see what kind of work we can do and what kind of video we can produce for them. And I called my boss, who was the owner of said company. We all had popcorn. Half the people didn't know where we were watching, and people by mean it was guys. It was all guys. And we made microwave popcorn and we watched, and we timed it out 2.5 hours. And my boss was so impressed with the marathon circus like endurance escapades that we viewed.
Competition.
He made yeah, it was competitive, all right, because yeah. At one point we stood and applauded because it was just kind of like damn. He made copies of the videotape before I brought it back that afternoon from my neighbor. We all walked out with copies, DVD copies. It was kind of nice. And I'm pretty sure it was given as Christmas gifts to different, what's the word I'm looking for? Vendors that we also worked for, that we thought might appreciate said video. Yes, Rocky with an I, Room 13, Mojo 50. You have a question.
Yes, thank
also
you.
You heard on Odyssey, right?
Yes,
Odyssey
we
1?
are heard. Yes, we are heard on Odyssey One as well. Thank you so much for. I promised her this is going to be my last question.
Probably not.
No, probably not. At any indication, did your female neighbor ever mention, did you watch, or hey, I realized after the fact that I may have given you the wrong video. I hope you didn't watch the contents of it. Did your neighbor ever realize that she may have handed you a video that was not blank?
Funny, you should ask that question, because I walked the videotape over. She was walking her dog and we took a walk down the street. I'm like, hey, here's the show. And I don't remember what show it was. It might have been Gilmore Girls. Here, Rocky with an eye. Yes.
Were you looking at her in the eyes when you were talking to her upon return of the videotape, or were you looking down the whole time?
No, it's the only place I could look at her is the eyes, because everything else I could picture. Thanks. If I just keep eye contact, I'm good. Because if I go anywhere else, it's like, oh, I've seen that.
There it is.
I've seen that too. Ooh, I know where that tattoo is. So upon returning the tape, I gave her, I'm like, hey, here's the Gilmore Girl. I think it was Gilmore Girls. That sounds about right. Gilmore Girls. And I'm like, and here's the tape you actually gave me. That wasn't blank. And she's like, oh, what was on it? I'm like, it was you and Jeremy. And she's like, oh, was it? And she blurted it right out loud. She's like, was it, something, was it me and Jeremy together? I'm like, yes, it was. And I'm like, I am so sorry, but I didn't think you'd want me to tape over it. I thought it might be something special for you two, and I didn't want to tape over it. She's like, oh no, we have a bunch of those. And I'm like,
oh,
okay. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure there was nothing on it. So I did peek, and that's how I found out what was on it. She's like, oh, don't worry about that. That's okay. What did you think? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, what'd you think? And I'm like, I'm like, I was impressed. I'm like,
that sounds like a trick. It sounds like a leading question,
Yes, because I asked my friend who's a psychiatrist. It's amazing. I have smart friends. Me being such a dunce, and I have actually brilliant friends. You are one of them. Although I question your smarts, since you're freaking teamed with me on this darn show.
Only sometimes.
By choice. Yeah, I asked my buddy Ron. I'm like, hey, in your professional opinion, I rolled out the whole scenario for him. I'm like, that wasn't an accident that she gave me that tape. She's like, no. He's like, she really enjoyed giving you that tape, and she was hoping you were going to find that tape. I'm like, yeah, I did. I even told my wife too, which is kind of even a funnier story. I told her like days later, after I knew it was safe.
I'm pretty sure she asked you to move. Let's move somewhere else where no one knows us.
Shortly thereafter. That's actually a harder thing to do. Shortly thereafter, we did move, and we have not talked to said neighbors since. The relationship kind of parted.
Yeah.
I could do an analogy what it parted like, but I'm not going to go there. I'm sure most of the guys are laughing right now.
Yes.
So, yeah, haven't talked to her. But it is kind of hard to move somewhere, anywhere in Erie County, where I don't know someone. So
yes,
that's kind of a trick.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm not famous, but I've coached so many people over 20 years. I run into somebody somewhere. It's freaking impossible.
Somewhere pretty much anywhere you go in that general area where you reside.
Thank you for bringing back that story. I haven't thought about that one in a while. I'll be smiling all night.
I definitely do think that she gave you that tape for a reason. There's only one of two reasons that I can think of, and I'll let the listeners reach that conclusion by themselves. They're a smart audience. Clearly a smart audience. And
are they a smart audience? They're listening to us.
Absolutely. This is such a great audience. I don't know what you're talking about. This audience is so great. They have been able to help me reach the initial goal for my Autism Speaks virtual 5K for July 4th of this year. And I'm speaking of these things because Autism Speaks is the nonprofit organization of the month of April. April is Autism Awareness Month. And even though Autism Speaks is a pretty large and well-known nonprofit organization, I do some fundraising, which is why I paused. I was like, I do some fundraising for them on behalf of my daughter. And this year they have continued with the virtual races, walks as they had last year. And I signed up this year again for the virtual 5K, which will take place on July 4th. So we will be sharing that link again that goes straight to my fundraising page. Right now, my fundraising goal is at $500, and I believe I have collected $280, I think.
Mm-mm. Nope, you're higher than that. I looked.
Trying to remember, it's 310. I would have to log
Yep.
into the app so that I can see. But I would absolutely love it if by the time that I participate in the walk, I have collected more than that. It would be really cool if people helped me reach $1,000. So that would be very exciting. And as I said, I will be sharing the link again on through our Facebook page and through Twitter. So keep an eye on that. If you have $5, $10, $20, $100, $500, please donate to autismspeaks.org with my fundraiser, which I will be providing the direct link because it will be associated with my name and my daughter's name. So that's that. That's what I've got. I raised $300 out of $500. So it would be really awesome if by the end of April, I reach my goal of $500. So
Ooh, you know what song we should be singing right now?
What?
Since you're 300 to 500, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that considered halfway there? Oh, she's halfway there. Oh, she's living on a prayer. No? Okay.
I'm not half. I'm more than
Fine.
halfway there.
She's more than halfway there. That's what she said. Oh.
Misheard lyrics. So I just want to share this anecdote because I remember I texted it to you. I was like, misheard lyrics at the office. So
Oh, dear God.
I'm busy working this, that, and the other, and that Bon Jovi song comes up, and what was it that I texted you? It's like, oh, we're halfway there. Or I'm trying to remember what the heck it was. Cheese Louise, and now I can't remember. Halfway there. Well, I can't find the joke. Oh, we're naked, I swear. Instead of we'll make it, I swear. It's like, we're naked,
kinda goes
I
along with it.
swear. Yeah.
I'm halfway there. I'm naked. I'm naked. I swear, which is how you're halfway
We'll make
there.
it. We'll make it, I swear. It's we're naked, I swear.
Sounds like something I would have sung in high school.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Instead, it's like, excuse me while I kiss the sky. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that one.
Purple Haze. Yeah, and all that fun stuff. Anyway, it is time, Fish. It is time for our dad jokes of the week, sponsored by American Pride Roasters Coffee. This is the last of my Hamilton Burr. I'm very sad because I have to Burr Hamilton, actually. I always get the name confused. It is the last that I have, and I'm actually going to be placing an order soon. So, Dave, keep an eye out for my order, which should be coming in sometime this weekend. American Pride Roasters Coffee. They are terrible at making the bed. They squeeze the toothpaste tube from the middle and don't even get us started on emptying the dishwasher. But they will get the percolator percolating early in the morning to make you the best coffee of your life. Go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Get yourself some coffee. Get yourself some coffee drops. Get yourself some of Lee's Blend, which is an add-on coffee into your order, and enjoy that because they actually will change your life. It is life-changing, life-altering coffee. Indeed. AmericanPrideRoasters.com, AmericanPrideRoasters.com are sponsoring our dad joke segment, and we have 4 for you this week. We're going to start with the very first one from our good friend Leprechaun.
Good morning, Room 13. It's your favorite little leprechaun. I'll be guest hosting American Idol Radio here at 1 p.m. Eastern, just in a little bit. Hey, guys, a couple of dad jokes for you. First one, cooking out this weekend? Don't forget the pickle. It's kind of a big deal.
Oh, dear crap.
A cheese factory exploded in France. Debris is everywhere. Oh, that's terrible. Hey, guys, have a great show. We'll see you later. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you, Lip. I'm so glad he includes his own special effects.
Yes. That's what I was thinking, too.
Yes, here's another one from our good friend Peter Serafin. You will be hearing his show later on today. His show airs on Saturdays at 8 p.m. on Mojo 50.
This is Peter Serafin from the Liberty Lighthouse, and I may be a little paranoid, but I don't trust those trees in my backyard. They're shady.
Shady. Dang right. Here's another one from our good dear friend. Nice to say nee.
This is the Knights Who Say Nee. When my girlfriend said she was leaving because of my obsession with the monkeys, I thought she was joking. And then I saw her face. Now I believe her.
Do.
Oh, freaking earworm. Why?
That is exactly what I started singing along to when I heard that joke. That's
Son of a
right.
bitch.
It's going to be in your head all friggin' day. You're welcome. And this one is from Minnie, executive producer extraordinaire. This is Ronan Branham.
What noise does a witch's vehicle make? Broom, broom.
I love Ronan. He's such a great kid. So funny.
Is that his laugh or is that Chris's laugh in the
That's
background?
Chris's laugh. That is Chris's laugh.
I thought it might be inherited, like he inherited his dad's laugh.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, wait.
Room 13 News, hard-hitting, compelling, trustworthy, honest and caring, with Rocky with an I and the Mojo River Fish.
Welcome to Room 13 News. I am Rocky with an I.
And I am the riverfish.
Our top story, Apple has just developed a computerized car. However, they have hit a snag. They're having trouble installing Windows.
And in other news, NASA sent a probe to Uranus. People everywhere are giggling.
Oh, and this just in, a Florida man is in critical condition after he swallowed $250,000 in large bills. No change is expected.
Oh. And finally, the manhunt continues for a Michigan man caught on surveillance footage stealing the wheels off of patrol cars. The police are working tirelessly to catch him. I love that segment. I like doing the news.
I was so proud of that little intro last week, and I kind of got frustrated at the fact that it got drowned out with our intro music, that I was like, we're going to have to keep this. We're going to have to use this at least a couple more times until it gets played out, and then we'll try something else. But on with the rest of the news. Well, this was not the Amazon package that you would be expecting. Curious story of a man who tried mailing himself to Wales from Australia after getting homesick. Brian Robson was 19 years old when he decided to go ahead with the stupid plan to get home to Wales in 1965. After 11 months down under, he was feeling desperately homesick, but the 40 pound a month he was working for Victorian Railways wasn't nearly enough to cover a 700 pound plane ticket. Yes, it is by pound we mean the monetary unit. It's because, it's Australia and Wales, so they use the sterling pound. Just want to clarify that. I know it's a smart audience, but, want to make sure that they know it's pounds as in money, not pounds as in, whatever. Don't look at me like that. But after being talked into it for about a week, two Irish friends and colleagues known to Brian only as Paul and John
Oh, dear.
helped pack him into a box the size of a mini fridge. They nailed it shut and sent him off as cargo on a Qantas flight from Melbourne to London. At least that was the plan. Brian says he needed their help because Paul had access to a typewriter to fill out the paperwork to send him off as post. He told the Irish Times Paul really was 100% against it, but John said, "Don't worry about it, I'll persuade him." And so they both went ahead and helped. In the tiny box, Brian brought with him pillows, a torch, which is a flashlight, a suitcase, books of Beatles songs, and 2 bottles.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
One for water and one for what's not water anymore, but it was water before. Reach your own conclusions. Brian, now 75, wasn't expecting a luxurious trip, but what should have been a 36-hour direct flight ended up as a 4-day-long ordeal. The Qantas flight was full, so the crate labeled by the SKP as containing a computer was put on a much slower Pan Am flight that ended up in Los Angeles. Brian says the airplane's hold was both freezing cold and boiling hot, and that he struggled to breathe during the journey. When the plane landed in Sydney, he was left upside down for 22 hours, despite several "this side up" labels on the crate, causing him to suffer blackouts. After leaving Sydney and landing again, Brian thought he was finally in London, but after being carted off to a freight shed, he peeked through a hole in the chest and caught eyes with a frightened U.S. Customs official who thought there was a dead body inside. He was then interrogated by the FBI, who wanted to make sure he wasn't a Cold War spy. Once they were satisfied he wasn't a threat, authorities decided not to press charges, instead flying him to London on a regular commercial flight. Brian's legs had seized up inside the box, so he had to recover in hospital before his journey. Australia's then acting Prime Minister, or Minister for Immigration, Leslie Berry, said the government would not take any action against him. Brian said he had written to Paul and John to thank them for their help, but never heard back from them. He remembers that the pair went to school together in Ireland, although he isn't quite sure where. The stowaway added, "If I met them again, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry I got them into this and that I missed them when I came back. I'd like to buy them a drink." After returning to Wales, Brian spent his life working in retail and will now tell his story in a book, The Crate Escape, which is set to come out in late April of 2021. A film depicting his near-fatal journey is also in the works. Looking back at his plan, he told the BBC, "It was stupidity. If my kids tried it, I would kill them. But it was a different time." That news article came to us from the Metro UK. It wasn't lost on me that the two geniuses behind the great plan were called John and Paul.
And he's a Beatles fan.
Yeah, he's a Beatles fan. I was like, I think you're just making these names up, but I guess not the most ideal way of traveling to go back home, but at least he landed safely, which is all that matters. Now, Fish, your story, because we have probably about 4 minutes.
Oh, I'm going right for the punchline. So I was goofing off and reading different news PR articles of the city I was working in. And a fight between 2 women inside a Niagara Falls elementary school continued in a parking lot, with one combatant wielding a hammer, and ended with a rollover crash a block from the school. Police were called at about 9:15 a.m. Wednesday to Ebbet Elementary School for the report of a fight. According to a police report, a witness told the women were fist fighting inside the school, and the altercation moved into the parking lot. Here's why I bring this article to attention: not because it involved a hammer, not because there was a fight inside a school, but because of one of the combatants' names. That's when one of the women, later identified by police as, ready?
I'm ready.
This is delicious. Her last name is C-O-X. Rocky, could you please pronounce C-O-X for the audience?
It's Cox. It's not that difficult.
Good, because her first name is Pleasure. Later identified by police as Pleasure Cox, 26, got a hammer out of her car and started hitting the other woman's SUV, according to the report. Now, me being curious and me being very computer savvy, did a little excavating on the internet to locate Ms. Pleasure Cox.
You wanted to know if she was ribbed for your pleasure.
I did locate her, so I can confirm that her name is actually Pleasure. She has a sister, and her name is spelled Desire. Desire.
So Pleasure and Desire Cox.
Yes.
You know, as a parent, as parents, because we're both parents, we
Apparently.
try to make sure that we name our children appropriate names. But when you name your kids Pleasure and Desire with the last name like Cox, you're really kind of setting them up to accomplish only a few things in life. And by a few, I mean at least two things. And both are in the same industry. And I'll
Similar
let
industries,
you
yes.
reach let you reach that conclusion and determine which industry it is that I'm talking about.
I don't honestly know what the heck their parents were thinking. Pleasure and Desire with the last name of Cox. I wonder what their middle name is. People, if you want to play a little game on Twitter, please at us with what you think their middle name is. Best answers only.
All answers at this point with those two names. Can you go lower than Pleasure Cox? Well,
Yeah.
can you? I'm sure we could, but some of those things we're not going to read on air. Some of the jokes are just going to be for us. Oh my goodness. You know,
I did find some really cool other names because I found another article that listed the worst names found by midwives.
mhm.
One was Colon. Apparently she wanted to name the kid Colin, but wanted the different spelling, so she named it Colon, colon. Vagina, death, but they wouldn't do death. I guess the midwife nixed that one out, so they called her Morticia. Sweet Prayer Sunrise was one of them, and the prettiest one I've seen so far is Syphilis.
No, hard pass on that. Hard pass on that. But here we are at the end of our show. Thank you, everybody, for coming along for the ride. We hope that you had a great time with us today. We will see you next Saturday. Say goodnight, Fish.
Good night, Fish. See you all Sunday night, 8 o'clock, Mojo 50.
Perfect timing.
We could still do 2 hours.
There's so much content to do, but right now, for our viewing audience, we're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for sticking around. We promise we will make it up to you next weekend. Smooches!